Alrighty, we're going to begin our final unit of the year, Unit 6, Garden Paths and Wandering Trails. So you don't need that worksheet. I usually leave those in your book, but you should have out your paper. Looks like this, Road to Jerusalem. And from in the back of your book, you should have cut out, have these pictures that we'll be cutting out and gluing. And also our new character, Bossy R. I told you you're going to meet a new character, Bossy R. I'm going to talk to you teach you about him, tell you about him, because we're going to learn some more sounds. We'll learn about Bossy R. So that's what you need. Plus, you should have from your phonics book too, your Unit 6, the poem. I always read you the poem. And this paper. So you should have those all out and ready to go. That's what we're going to do. But first, I'm going to read you a story from my book. It's so we'll do this worksheet. It's about Jerusalem. It's called A Trip to Jerusalem. Let me move this so that you can see. Sometimes the lighting isn't very good. I just want to make sure you can see. It says, listen to find out what Bible story the Vicks walk reminds them of. So they must be visiting. Let me show you. I'll remind you about the Vick family. There's the Vick family. Remember them. Put them up here so you can look at them. We have Dad, Mom, Sam, Kate, Josh, and Belle. And remember their neighbors, Rosa and Ron. But we're going to talk about the Vick family in this story today. So, I'm going to read the story. You got to turn your imaginations on, pay attention, because I'm going to ask you questions. You can just look at this while I read the story to you. A Trip to Jerusalem. Does everyone have his Bible? Asked Dad as he locked the front door. Yes, they all chorused as they began to walk down the sidewalk. Dad took Josh by the hand and Kate walked beside Mom. Sam took the lead. This reminds me of when Jesus and his family took a trip to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover, commented Dad. Yes, it does, agreed Mom. Jesus had been in the temple in Jerusalem before, but now that he was 12 years old, he was old enough to go every year, explained Dad. The road to Jerusalem was dusty and rocky. The boys in the group probably ran ahead and enjoyed tossing some of the rocks out of the road. I'm sure they were excited about seeing the beautiful temple. Some of the best teachers and preachers lived in Jerusalem. The people loved to go there to hear more about God's word at the temple. Remember, a temple is like a church. Why did they go so far away? Asked Kate. Jerusalem was a bigger city than Nazareth, where Jesus lived with Mary and Joseph. In their hometown, Jesus and his family attended a synagogue, and Jesus probably went to classes at a synagogue to learn to read and write the Bible words. But they would learn so much more from the teachers at Jerusalem as they read to them from the big scrolls kept at the temple. We just have to walk a short way to the special meeting with the guest preacher at church this week. How far did they have to walk to their special Passover week? Josh wanted to know. Dad liked that question. Bible scholars tell us that there are two ways they could have gone. Nazareth was in the northern part of their country, and Jerusalem was in the south. North is up, and south is down. So they had to travel down to go south. It was 90 to 100 miles, depending on how they went. Either way, they would have had to camp along the way 3 or 4 nights. That's a long walk. Kate pretended to be tired. Something happened on the trip home, added Mom. Yes. When the group was on the road heading home, Mary must have thought that Jesus was with Joseph, and Joseph must have thought that Jesus was with Mary or some of his other friends. But when nighttime came, Jesus was not with them, explained Dad. When Joseph and Mary asked the people if they had seen Jesus, they said that they had not seen him. Mary and Joseph knew that God had given them his special son for them to take care of. So they went back to Jerusalem looking for Jesus all along the way. Did they find Jesus? Asked Josh. Yes, they did. Jesus was still in the temple. He was listening to the men and asking questions. He wanted to learn all he could. The teachers were amazed at him. I'm glad they found Jesus, said Kate. What would you do if you forgot to take us home from church? You kids don't have to be concerned about that. We'll be sure we're all together when it's time to go home, said Dad. Now let's walk a little faster. The pastor can't be late to church. So they told the story about the finding in the temple. It's a true Bible story. Back then, when they traveled in groups, when they went to Jerusalem for Passover, the Jewish people don't celebrate Easter like we celebrate Easter. They celebrate Passover. Actually, Passover was a couple weeks ago. They celebrated it around the time that we celebrated Easter. But when they would travel like that in large groups, usually the men stayed together and traveled, and the women stayed together and traveled. And Jesus was 12 then, so he was at an age where usually the women kept the children with them, but Jesus was kind of in between age, so he could have been traveling with the men or he could have been traveling with the women and children. So Mary thought he went with his dad with men, and Joseph thought he went with his mom and the women and children. So that's how that mix up happened. And when they got to where they were camping for the night and saw each other, and they both said to each other, "Where's Jesus?" And each thought he was with the other one. And that's when they realized he was missing. And they were really worried. And they took them 3 days till they found him, but he was still at the temple there talking to the men in the temple about God. So, but they were happy to find him. They were very happy. Let me ask you some questions of my story. So it said, what made Dad remember the Bible account of Jesus traveling on foot to the temple with his family? What made him think about that? Where were the Vicks going? They were going out the door together to walk over to the church. Why were all the Vicks going to church? They were having a special guest preacher come to talk. Sometimes churches will have guests come to their church and talk. So they were having a special meetings with a guest speaker. How was the Vicks trip different from the trip taken by Jesus and his family? How was it different? How long did it take them to get over to their church? And how long did it take Jesus and his family to get to Jerusalem? Remember, Jesus and his family said it would take 3 or 4 days of them walking to get there because it was about 100 miles away, where the Vicks, they just had to walk next door. So it was just the difference in the time it would take to get to each place. Would Jesus' father, Joseph, have asked the question, do you all have your Bibles? Would Joseph have said to Jesus, does everyone have their Bibles? No. No one but the church leaders were able to read and handle the precious scrolls. Back then they were on big scrolls. They didn't have the Bibles printed up yet back then in Jesus's time. And the Bible wasn't even finished being written because the Gospels were about Jesus when he grew up and died for our sins. So, but they didn't have Bibles yet. But they did have stuff from the Old Testament on scrolls that only the church leaders had. All right, next question. Why was Jesus' family going to Jerusalem? Do you remember? For Passover. They were going to hear the teachers and preachers at Passover. And how old was Jesus when he went with his family to the temple of Jerusalem? Do you remember how old he was? How old was he? 12. He was 12 years old. And what happened when Mary and Joseph were on the trip home. They realized they didn't have Jesus wasn't with their group, huh? They thought Jesus was with each other. And where did Mary and Joseph finally find Jesus? In the temple. Remember, temple's like a church, a synagogue's like a church. A temple was just a bigger church that they had in the bigger cities like Jerusalem. So Jerusalem was like like with us, we live in our own little cities, but you think about a big city like Pittsburgh is a big city, so Jerusalem was like a big city like that. Alrighty, so let's get this worksheet done and get my. So on here it said, well, first write your name. Don't forget about writing your name. It says cut out the pictures and glue them on the road to Jerusalem. So look at the road to Jerusalem with rocks and stuff. And so you're going to cut these two pictures out. And we're going to glue them. And we're going to talk about our new character, Bossy R, here in a minute. I'll read to you about Bossy R. And show you my new chart. I have a new chart to show you too, which you also have on the back of your paper. So let's get these cut out first and get them glued down. Now Jerusalem doesn't look like how it looks out here for us. Back then they didn't have paved roads like we do. Everything was all dirt. So if you look at the road, it's all dirt. So all you gotta do is just put a dab of glue on both of your pictures here. Doesn't have to be, you just need dabs like that. As long as it's good enough to hold your picture. And you're going to put the first picture there. You should be able to line these. They match the your second one there. So you got the grown-ups and the kids. Looks like the ladies or some of the ladies are with the men. Maybe that's at the point where Mary was with Joseph and said, hey, where's Jesus? And was looking back at the kids, looking for Jesus, huh? That would be scary to lose your kid, huh? And Jesus wasn't even scared. I don't even think he realized he was lost because he was so busy talking to the teachers. All right, you can flip your page over. We have B and R, lowercase b, uppercase b. Let's practice your B's and your R's. Below you'll do a lowercase and uppercase, lowercase, uppercase. And I'm going to get my chart out, and you should have your Bossy R paper out. We're going to talk about Bossy R. Let me grab my chart with AR. Oh. This is a cute little picture. Bossy R. I have a little story to read to you about Bossy R. Let me see if you can look at this on here so you can see it good. Here's my Bossy R. Look, he's roping. And if you look at his belt, and you can see that on his belt buckle, you can see that on your paper here, his belt buckle. What letter is on there? If you look at it closely, it's an R. So he got the name Bossy R. And he bosses around these vowels. We have A, E, I, O, U. He's bossing them around. All right, I have a little story about him to read to you in my book. So you look at this picture and I'll read to you what's in my book. It says, Bossy R spurred his horse toward the 5 cows with a loud whoop. Bossy R liked to be in charge. In fact, that is how he got his name. Some people thought he was bossy. Bossy R yelled, get along, get along. The cows mooed, but they trotted easily. They were tired from the long trip over the mountain. Bossy R kept whistling and whooping until they came to the corral on the Curly R Ranch. A new young cowboy rushed out of the bunkhouse to help Bossy R, told him right away what to do. Get the gate open. We have to get these cows inside the corral. The young cowboy jumped right to it. Where did you get these cows? He asked Bossy R. Bossy R closed the gate behind the last cow. In Val Valley. They aren't branded with any brand, so I drove them home. The new cowboy scratched his head. What do you mean they aren't branded? Bossy R pointed to his horse's flank. No marking. See, my horse has one. The brand lets everyone know that this is my horse. The small herd of cows milled around in the far corner of the corral. The cowboy leaned on the fence with Bossy R. When are we going to brand them? He asked. Bossy R rubbed his chin. Might as well do it first thing in the morning. Be here and be ready. What should I bring? The cowboy asked. Bring a rope and plenty of strength. It's quite a chore to brand cattle. The young cowboy tipped his hat to Bossy R. Yes, sir. See you in the morning. Bossy R nodded. He felt his fingers almost itch to get started on the branding. Those Val Valley cattle will soon be Curly R cattle. And that, my friends, he said to the cattle, is the best brand to be. So Bossy R, see, I don't think they show his horse. They don't show his horse. I'm assuming his brand, what they do, a brand is kind of like a stamp that they put on a long time ago. They would put on cattle, and because out in the West, they didn't have fences and stuff long time ago for the cattle, and they would kind of just roam around. So there was lots of area, and you would see a brand. It was a hot iron, and they would like burn it onto their back, like back side here of the back part of them. Now let me read to you on the back of my paper here, or on the back of this chart, what it says about Bossy R. It says Bossy R is a phonics character who helps the students remember that when a vowel letter in a word or syllable is followed by an R, the sound of the vowel letter is influenced by R. So what it means is this teaches that when a vowel letter is followed by an R, it influences the sound of a vowel that precedes it. So we have car. Let's see what words we have on here. So this word up here is bark. You don't say ark. When you see an AR together, you say R because he's bossing the vowel. When you have an OR, it's an or, chore. ER is fern. UR, this word is burn. That's another you just hear the And IR, shirt. OR is when it's a little bit OR and AR. We have R, where you actually say the letter R. These are just more of an okay? We're going to be learning more. So let me show you, which you have this on the back of your paper too. Let me scoot this over so you can see this. AR. So we have starfish, shark, archer. An archer is a person that shoots the bows and arrows, shoots with the bow, shoots the arrows with the bow. And then we have target, AR, R. So R for R. You see the AR, you hear R, R. You also have those on the back of your paper. So that's what Bossy R is. He is very bossy and likes to boss the vowels around. So you can cut out. If you would have been here, I would have taped a stick to the back of him, but you don't have to do that. You have to tape a popsicle stick. And just cut him out. And you're going to be cutting your other vowels out because we are going to be learning about the other vowels with him. You'll cut those out at a later time. I'll let you know when. I'm not sure which one's next. I think E might be next. Or O, I'm sorry. O, I think is next. So we have Bossy R and we have our A. So today, he's going to boss the A around because we're going to learn about AR. And when A and R are together, you say R. Just like one of our sight words, the word R, A-R-E, R. So you should have those cut out. And let's move on down. We're ready to complete this. So we have here, color the R under bossy R green. I'm coloring the R green. Get my crayons here. Color the R under bossy R green. Color each vowel green. He has the vowel circled. So you're coloring, and listen, I want it to look like this. You're tracing them. I do not want the middle of this A scribbled. You trace them to help teach you hand control and tracing. And you color the R green. So the AR in both words, R and R. So we have a B here. So we have B, bar. We have an F, far. So we have bar, far. They rhyme. All right, now down below it says draw a line to match the name of the ranch with the brand. So let's take a look here. This should be easy. S-T-A-R, st. Remember you say arst. Star. You have this word up here just with the uppercase B. Bar. Star bar. Which one of those? I'll use my red crayon so it shows up. Which one of these is a star bar? This one. So that would be like a brand. Draw a line to it. Star bar. That the stamp like they would put on the cattle. Flat, hill, flat hill. Which one looks like a flat hill? This one. So draw a line to that. There you go. Flat hill. And the last one we have, bent tree. Bent tree. It's a bent tree, so just straight across. Last one. So your paper should look like this. Alrighty. And that's it for this page. Next up, let's do I'm going to read this to you. And look at this one next. It's called King of Purple. So you can look at the pictures while I read it to you. All right, it says, if I were king in purple capes, I'd feast each day on purple grapes. I'd have a bed with purple sheets and purple chairs with purple seats. A purple door with purple latch and purple plates with cups to match. I'd paint my towns all purple too, even cages in the zoo. If I were king, there'd purple be on everything, including me. And the person that wrote this poem was Morgan Reed Person. So that's it. Poems rhyme. Did you hear the rhyming words? But look at all the purple. So much purple. Wow. So you can just let your parents see the back. It just tells them everything that we're going to be learning about to the end of the year here. That's for that. And you should have this phonics page with the AR. First things first, write your name and trace the word. He's looking, F-A-R, far. So I want you to, oh, there's my, cross out the word far and trace it over here. So they all rhyme, A-R at the end. So we have far with a B, bar, and with a T, tar. So what is this? It's a bar of soap. So write down bar, B-A-R. Cross it out at the top so you don't make a mistake and write. Hope you guys can see that okay. Last is tar. That's what's on the black stuff on the road. They're doing roads and stuff. T-A-R. Tar is pretty stinky. It's black and stinky and sticky. All right, so you should have far, bar, tar. Let's go down here. Let's read these words together. We have, they continue to rhyme with a C now. Car, jar, with an S-T, star. So go ahead and write those down. You have jar, you have a star, and you have a car. So go ahead and write those down. Cross them out as you use them so that you don't make a mistake and write the wrong word under the picture. Okay. So you should have jar, star, car. Give you a minute to finish writing those. And we're going to read this word on the apple says read. So we're going to read this together. We'll go up and top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. So we have bar, car, far, jar, star, tar. Look at star and tar. All you do is add that. If you take the S off, they both say tar, huh? Just add an S and makes it a whole new word. All right, you should be done with that. Turn your page over. Ooh, you get to color some cars. It says color the car if you see the letters AR. It shows purple. If you want to color them purple, you can color them purple. You can color them any color but what? Black, right. I don't want you coloring black because we won't be able to see the words. But let's read these real quick together before you color them. So we have B-A-R. Remember, you're looking for A-R. Bar. With an F. We have an A-R. Far. With a C with the A-R. Car. Now we have a B here. We have an O-W. That's bow. Long O sound. So nope, not coloring that one. Down here, T-A-R, tar, and S-T, star. So the only one you should not be coloring is bow. I'll hurry up and put a little bit of color. I think I am going to do mine purple. Get my purple crayon. I'll just color over the word area just so you know which ones. If you have time, you can finish these up. I'm just going to color over them real quick just so we're clear on you know which ones to color. If you want to color your tires black, you can color them black. Just the tires black. Not over the words. Okay. I just colored over them really quickly so you can see which ones. I want you to do a better job than one knows, but bar, far, car, tar, and star. So those are the ones you should have colored. All right. And once you're done with that, then you can get your book out because we're reading. Next, I'll read Little Boy Jesus with you for reading. So Little Boy Jesus. So we learned AR today. We learned about bossy R. He likes to boss the vowels, our vowels around. And when you see an AR together, you say R. Think of a pirate. R. That's what the pirate says. AR. R. So that'll help you remember when you see an AR together. All right. All right. Up next will be reading.